Riley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Wednesday, July 12th. So we have the moon in Taurus again all day, which makes us very grounded, very present, very focused on the here and now. We are focused on creating peace and harmony within ourselves, with the world around us. We're looking for what is tried, tested, and true, what is comfortable. And although we're not really that outgoing, depending on the person, depending on the conversation, depending on the vibe, we're definitely open for some lighthearted interaction. Now, there are 8 different aspects here today, and 7 of them are going to involve the moon. The moon in Taurus energy going to make a very positive aspect with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who is retrograde in this Pisces energy. So I love this because, as you know, Saturn being in the retrograde is kind of pushing us to reflect, to revise, to review. What is it that we are reflecting on, revising, and reviewing? Well, the way that we feel about certain systems, structures, routines, relationships in our lives. We are really taking a good look at what it is that we've built, where our roles and responsibilities are, where it is that maybe some things aren't working. And of course, the whole point of Saturn being retrograde in this Pisces energy is to really take a good look at what it is that we have to close the door on, what we have to kind of bring to an ending, bring to a completion point, so that we can build something new in the place of the things that we're no longer in alignment with. The only aspect that doesn't involve the moon here today is the sun in Cancer energy, getting into the boxing ring, squaring off with Chiron, the wounded healer, in Aries energy. So this isn't going to be a good vibe. A square never is. It creates conflict and tension in order to illuminate where the problems are, where the issues are, where it is that our attention is needed the most. And of course, Chiron, being the wounded healer, always needs to expose the wounds to us in order for us to feel them so that we can go ahead and heal them. What the sun and Chiron are doing kind of in this square, they are triggering fears, doubts, insecurities, illuminating where it is that we're feeling a little bit vulnerable, feeling a little bit out of the groove, where we're not feeling safe and secure and stable at all. And because of this, we're really questioning ourselves. There's a lot of self-doubt coming up. And our natural disposition is to maybe act out of fear and kind of do what we think that we should do or we have to do in order to hold on to things. Keep in mind that the sun in Cancer energy, very attached to the past. We have a hard time letting go, even if we know that we have to let go, even though we know that we want to let go. Sometimes it is very hard to kind of break that cord, break that connection. And so because we're not really feeling stable, we're not really feeling sure or certain about anything, we have the tendency to sit in the funk of fear and actually make decisions, make choices, and take actions out of fear, which of course we want to kind of avoid doing. There is this energy where it feels like maybe we have to like prove ourselves, or we're not good enough, or we're not deserving enough. Again, all of these very low vibrational frequency emotions and thoughts are getting activated and triggered so that we can really tackle them, find where the primary root cause of some of these things are actually stemming from in order for us to attempt to heal them. We have to recognize the funk. We have to recognize the fear. We have to recognize the vulnerability that we're currently sitting in. And we have to recognize where other people are triggering these particular thoughts and emotions in us, or the circumstances of our current situation where they are playing into these not so nice vibes. This is going to push us into a position where, after we sit in the funk, we're going to have a realization where we don't want to stay here. We don't want to feel like this. We don't want to think like this. This pushes us into growing through what it is that we're going through, pushing us into a new position where we do have a desire to be better, to improve, to learn how to do things in a different way, where we have to build ourselves back up, where self-esteem, self-confidence is concerned, and really kind of attack why it is that we're not believing in ourselves, why we're having a lack of faith, why it is that we are kind of fearing letting go of the old, fearing being different, fearing setting out on a new path, really analyzing why it is that we're thinking the way that we do and feeling the way that we do. Now, the moon in Taurus energy is going to interact with Chiron very shortly after the sun does in a much better way than the sun does. This is bringing a little bit of calmness, a little bit of comfort. Keep in mind that the moon in Taurus energy just wants things to feel good, wants to feel comfortable, wants to feel safe, wants to feel secure. And this interaction with Chiron is the stepping stool or stepping stone, if you will, on how it is that we are dragging ourselves out of that funk and really grounding ourselves out, leaning into logic and practicality, recognizing the opportunities for change and for growth, and really kind of deciding what it is that feels good to us by recognizing where it is that we don't want to sit in the not so nice thoughts and feels any longer. Shortly after, the moon comes together with the sun. They sextile, they merge energies with each other. And the beautiful thing about this is that this is almost like the reconciliation, if you will. The sun had its issues with Chiron. The moon swooped in to emotionally try to push us to a point where we want to do better, where we want to heal, where we want to grow. And then the moon and the sun come together. And of course, Taurus energy is very grounding, very in the present moment, very focused on our physical realms. And the sun in Cancer energy, very focused on our emotional realms, focused on what it is that we have to do, what we have to build, what we have to create in order to protect ourselves, to fill the void of the fears, the doubts, the insecurities that we're currently feeling, and to strengthen the foundation on how it is that we plan on kind of implementing boundaries in order to protect ourselves. The moon then interacts with Mercury in a very positive way. Mercury, of course, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves. Now in this Leo energy. We just shifted into Leo energy here yesterday. If you need to go ahead, listen to that astro forecast to remind you what it is that we're going to experience over the next couple of weeks of Mercury being in Leo energy, please go ahead and do so. This is a positive interaction, which means that emotionally speaking, our heart space, the moon, and mentally speaking, our head space, Mercury, they're on the same page. They're talking. We have a heart-based activation where Mercury is concerned. We're in Leo energy. So not only are we aligning our heart with our head, but we're thinking big, we're thinking grand, we're expressing ourselves from our heart space. We're truly getting in alignment with that real, raw, authentic want, need, and desire to do something different. And the moon in Taurus energy, although very content to be in the here and now, very much sitting in this, I'm going to say, comfortable little cocoon that we've built for the here and now to really explore some of the new ideas, the new thoughts coming in where Mercury in Leo energy is concerned. The moon will then come up to, conjunct, team up with, bump into Uranus. Uranus is the great awakener who is in this Taurus energy, showing us where it is that maybe we're too attached to our physical realm, to our routines, to our relationships, to our resources, our money matters, our physical possessions. The Uranian energy constantly wants to push us outside of our comfort zones in order to create a spontaneous change where we can open up our mind, open up the realm of possibilities. Of course, it makes it a very difficult situation for Uranus to be in the Taurus energy that we've been in for many, many moons, because the Taurus energy is a fixed earth sign. So any changes that are coming up, first of all, even if it's our idea, we are semi-resistant to them because we're in a fixed energy here. And even if we go ahead and make some of the changes that we are still resisting, but going kind of with the flow in order to try and make, it is at a very low and slow and steady pace, which just grinds the gears of this Uranian energy, if you will. We want snap the fingers kind of change. The Taurus energy is like, nah, you got to build it properly. We have to make baby steps in order to see if the changes that we're making are going to be strong enough to house the next chapter of baby steps that we need to make in order to actually advance towards our goals. So the moon interacting with Uranus, first of all, let me just say this could be a jolt of energy to the central nervous system. We have to keep in mind that Uranian energy is like a lightning bolt. Now, lucky for us, we're grounded in this Taurus energy. So it could be excitement. It could be inspiration. It could be epiphany. It doesn't necessarily have to be restlessness and anxiety and anticipation, although those particular labels are something that we're more commonly able to kind of identify instead of switching the script up and realizing that energy is just energy and the label that we give it is the way that we direct it, and we have the ability to change anxiety into anticipation or excitement. We have the ability to turn restlessness into anticipation as well. So how you label it is up to you, but just know that this is a major shift, a major aha moment, a major epiphany, if you will, in ideas and in emotions. And we are definitely going to see a different perspective emerge. The moon, shortly thereafter, going to get in the boxing ring and square off with Venus. Venus, of course, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, money, in Leo energy, the heart and soul of the zodiac, creeping closer and closer to going retrograde there on the 22nd. If you need to reflect back, listen to the July energy forecast intro. Go ahead and do that so that you know what we're in for. Download the Cancer Season e-guide as we kind of explored the precursor of what Venus's retrograde will be. Of course, Venus will be going retrograde just hours before the sun shifts into Leo season. So there's going to be a lot of heart activations coming up in the next couple of weeks. Nonetheless, Venus rules over the Taurus energy that the moon is currently in. So this is going to be a little bit of an intense type of interaction. And basically, the thing is here, the moon, who is our emotions, our intuition, who does connect us very, very tightly to the past, in this Taurus energy, a fixed earth sign, doesn't want to think about the past, doesn't want to think about the future, just wants to find peace and harmony and comfort and stillness and safety and security and happiness and joy in the here and now, focusing in on the smaller things in life. The problem is that Venus is going through a major change of heart. And that major change of heart means that we are recognizing where it is that we're having a hard time finding all of those things in the present moment, because our circumstances are now a situation that we're not in alignment with. And so there's a part of us holding on desperately, trying to tell ourselves everything's going to be fine. I can deal with this. I can settle for that. Everything is great. While the other part of us in our heart space, aligned with our higher self, aligned with our heart and soul, is saying, I don't know. I don't really feel good about it. I think you're lying to yourself. I think we have to take a more logical, practical approach on what it is that's going on here, because I'm not happy about some things. Things are changing. Things aren't as important to me as they once were. I'm not enjoying the circumstance in which I've built as much as I once did. So a change needs to take place. The last thing that we have going on here is the moon in Taurus energy, sextiling beautiful energy with Neptune, who of course is retrograde in Pisces energy. And again, we have the Taurus and Pisces energy working very well with each other, because what we think about, what we feel, what we receive as far as intuitive and psychic downloads in our higher self, in our dreaminess, our imagination, our fantasy land, if you will, we're able to actually bring to life in the Taurus energy. That's where we create, that's where we give birth, that's where we bring things into reality, give things form. The Neptune energy that rules over our spirituality, rules over our soul contracts, our intuition, our dreams, our imagination, our fantasy, retrograde, is pushing us to look back, to reflect back, really taking a good look at what needs to come to an end, what we need to close the door on as far as old dreams go, as far as old belief systems go, as far as old soul contracts go. And of course, having this realization, we're easily able to bring it into the physical body with the moon being in Taurus energy, ground that out, really sit in that, and really explore what it is that we need to change, what it is we need to close the door on, what it is that we need to transform from here.